Hi, everyone, and welcome to our second episode of our Innovation as a Growth Engine panel sessions. This is our second event, and previously we have already started the discussion about innovation and how it drives different types of businesses and how it drives growth in different industries. And we believe that these talks are very useful for our audience, which is very business science and technology related people. And today we are planning to continue our discussion, but with other experts. And let me quickly ask our today's guests. So bring them in this studio. And hi, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you for
Hello.
being with us today. And I hope this discussion will be pretty useful and productive today. And without further ado, let me ask you to introduce yourself briefly, one by one. Maybe let's start from you, Victor.
Hello, everyone. I'm a chemist by my university education, and I'm working in the field of material science, electrochemistry, batteries, actually in a university in Sweden. I'm a group leader in Sweden, and all my life I've been working in academia. So I will be complementary to other persons who are employed in industry.
Okay, thank you. And let's turn to you, Jeremy.
Hi, everyone. So I work with Sasha and Alec in EPAM. So I've been with EPAM for about 3 years now. Prior to that, I was an innovation consultant in the US. I've spent 20 years actually advising clients on how to improve their products to either reach their customers better or to create a better bottom line or to basically grow their business. Um, this is something that I'm quite passionate about to the point that I wanted to also be able to teach. So for 7 years when I was in the US, I taught at the Parsons School of Design. I originally was a designer but became an innovation consultant and really enjoyed teaching students there, teaching them the art of innovation. So that's my background.
Interesting. Thank you, Jeremy. And I'd like to ask you, Gleb.
So my background is like I'm a creative technologist. So I'm joining technology and art, culture, and all the things since 90s, and like I'm doing it in all the unpredicted ways, and that's probably why for last years with EPAM we just creating some crazy projects, and in this case like it goes so well, so we have some more ideas to do, and that's well that's it.
Okay, and last but not least, Sasha.
Hi guys, I'm Sasha Pitkevich, and most likely you know and remember about me because I was also presented in the first session, because I'm actually a leader of the Thunderbolt Global Network and trying to organize all those activities together. And well, a lot of people are asking, Sasha, why? Why are you doing so? And I do have many reasons. First of all, I'm heavily motivated personally because, well, since my student years, probably even before, I was always fascinated with the innovations and innovative technologies. And I do believe that the world actually can be much better if we would grasp the technology, if we will use the technology, if you won't be scared. You've probably read, techno optimist and techno pessimist manifestos recently, and I'm like, well, since when I was 20, I'm on a daily basis reading about the technology innovations, and I want society to implement that properly. And that's why in every company where I work, and I've been working at Accenture, and I've been working at the Liquid Studio of Accenture, and I'm working now at EPAM and leading their blockchain practice and organizing a lot of the communities and community activities. Because I do believe that as a society, we are lacking the good grip on making a value out of the technology innovations. And yeah, that's me.
Okay, yes, thank you everyone for such a great representation about yourselves. And without further ado, let's go through the questions I prepared in advance about innovation, about technologies. And since we are talking about innovation today, and not only today, in this community overall, let's try to define the term innovation, maybe in simple terms, without any hard things. How do you personally understand this thing, and what do you think about innovation? I mean, the so to say basic definition of this word. Any volunteers?
I'll start.
Yeah, sure.
One of the things that's very interesting for me is when I started this field, I get a lot of clients who actually like to throw the word around innovation, but actually what they want to do is just to be better, right? Just to either be better than the competition, or to do something that would be different so that they will be attractive. So there's a business end to this, right? Primarily because all of them are business people and they want to move this forward. I think, Sasha, the thing that you talked about just before when you were doing your introduction about the world lacks innovation, it's because the world is basically, the world that we live in today is basically held by a lot of these men, or I shouldn't say men, a lot of these businesses where their aim is actually not to be innovative. The aim is to increase their profit margin so that their stakeholders are happy, right? So it's a kind of like indirect way towards the innovation. So when I ask them what exactly does innovation mean to you, they always talk about the happy side of innovation, right? But I also say that, do you realize that actually innovation means that you need to rethink completely the way that you do things? Who are the people you hire? What are the things that they do? All of these things come with innovation, because innovation in its core mean that you have to disrupt the way that you used to do things in order to embrace new things that you've not done before, irrespective of whether it's a product or whether you're delivering a new service to a new customer that you don't know or you've never spoken to before. You need new ways to do things, right? So for me, that's at least what I like to tell the customers, so that they become, they understand the pros and cons of this innovation. And I'll stop there and I'll let other people pick up.
Well, Jeremy touched the very the pinpoint, like the innovation is like it's to doing new things and the new ways of working. It's bringing it's doing something new or doing something on a new way. And indeed, like a lot of problems arises from this world is run by businesses, which means that by money. And every time when we are looking to implementing something new or creating something new, we're always looking to the investment and the return of the investments. And recently, as we are in recession, the time in which we want to get a return of our investments is very, very short, which means that we cannot invest now in something really new, because that requires a lot of tries and falls. Like, I mean, where when you will get the return, or when you know what you will do, that's not innovation anymore. And when you don't know, like if you are business led, if you're money led, you cannot afford that, because your management or like your board of directors or your investors or your shareholders would immediately ask you when there would be the return. And you cannot come there saying, I don't know. And when asking, what are you going to do? You can say, I don't know, because then you will not get the funding. You will not get the investments. And that's why, I mean, we are trying to do what we are trying to do in this community, to let people, professional innovation, at least to talk to each other, to combine the efforts, because what means combine the findings. Because like when we are, for example, at EPAM doing certain research, we can do this little bit of the research, but the people in another company can do another little bit of the research. And if we will not be doing the same and the complementary things, it will be twice bigger. And at least to talk to people who are doing the same things, and at least to basically to find the win-win situations where something can be done for non-monetary rewards, for example, for the credentials, for the experience, for the motivation of the people, where we can do the real value and the real innovations, not having direct money investments involved. Yeah, I'm passing to the
I
next
agree.
person.
And just to, sorry, Victor and Gleb, I'll just say one thing and then I'll pass it on to you guys. So, because I actually for 20 years worked on innovation, I think maybe 5% of what I worked on actually hit the market. I mean, if you think about it, in 20 years of work, only 1 year actually, the years of work actually hit the market or even less. It's a sad story, right? Because that's what innovation is about. It's about the ideas being shot down. But I'll leave it to Victor and Gleb to talk more.
Yeah, maybe I say a word that sometimes I like definitions. Speaking about innovation, people discern incremental, radical, and disruptive innovation. So incremental innovation is something maybe which you will not consider innovation at all. So you had a TV screen like this, and then it became like this. It's an incremental innovation. Radical, I imagine it's when black and white TV becomes color TV. It's radical. But disruptive, it's instead of TV, you are watching internet. I think it's disruptive. So I think incremental is not that interesting, but many people, when they think about what they can do as innovators, they think about, at least I see at our PhD students, for example, of course they are looking for innovation, but they think that if it's 5% better than their neighbor, it's already innovation. So I think it's a good framework to think further.
Okay. And Gleb, what's your opinion on this?
So the thing is that, like, if we're talking about the innovation, there is two things that people just mixing up: invention, innovation. Invention is the thing that you're inventing. Innovation is something that you're taking, you making it better. That's innovation. And probably that's the most simple thing that you can do, that you can innovate, but in a way that you really need to innovate. So that's, you need to think out of the box completely.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much for giving
Can I
your.
follow up? Can I
Yes,
follow
yes,
up
sure.
with some of the points that Victor and Gleb has talked about? I think, Victor, the point that you make is really interesting because, so I've been very lucky in my life, right? I'm from Singapore, a very, very small island in Asia where, when I was going through school, people didn't know what design was. And I had to go to the US to get educated in design. And then from there, go into one of the best design agencies in the world. I worked there for 20 years. Now, when I was in the US, or I'm sure that our compatriots in Europe would do, that they would work with global companies to innovate. And when we talk about innovate, we talk about, the things that both Victor and Gleb talk about. But the innovation in Asia is actually not the innovation at that level. It's what Victor was talking about. It's the incremental, primarily because Asian markets are primarily focused on hitting the ground running and making sure that your business is as efficient as possible and earning as much money as possible for these global companies. They have no stomach for innovation. I have no clients in Asia that have actually asked me to innovate. All of them have asked me to improve their product, make it better, increase customer experience. I still call this innovation because it requires a lot of thinking in order to, within this very small parameter, try and find ways to make the client's product stand out. I still think it's innovation, but it's not the innovation that we talk about in the US, right? I think the interesting thing for me is that the pushback is very interesting, right? I remember working for a car company that I would not name. Maybe 15 years ago, before the iPhone, when the Apple was still a computer, And we were telling them that one of the things that maybe they should do, instead of trying to put all of these small features in the car, you should just put an Apple computer in the car and allow the young people to play music, right? CDs at that point of time, to actually make it a car that's focused on sound. And they looked at me like I had two heads, on my neck, right? Because they're like, what crazy idea is that? And it went nowhere. And to me, to this day, I realize I know that this is a really good idea because young people are so focused on music, right? It's really sad because you see all of these great ideas just falling by the wayside, but then 20 years down the road it happens, right?
Well,
So that's
for
what you
me,
get.
with those ideas, unfortunately, there are ideas which everybody can recognize that they're brilliant. Yeah, there are ideas where there are a lot of doubts, but the majority of ideas, they need a lot of development, and that takes time, and that's it's requires of bringing prototypes, seeing how the prototypes, it requires the conscious and quite lengthy development to reach a final state. And we are probably like what I see at the market is with all the short-term goals, we are pretty much like when we can articulate where that's more or less but when we are speaking of something where we need horizon 3 to look at, like the perspective for 10 years, then this all is shaky, faded, and nobody is able to put those unless there are some people at universities, and here I'm looking to Victor, probably I still have some hopes that they can do that, because
That's
going
the
from the
problem.
business side, going from the startup side, we never ever can develop something which would be the thing in 10 years. And we are frequently speaking about that on a conferences, like what would be the next big thing in blockchain, what would be the next big thing in AI, and we can find them only by mistake or by coincidence. Because when we need to work constructively and deliberately over the certain topic consistently, it never happens on the business side. It never happens being funded by governments because, well, they have programs, but they're changing as a wind. And well, here I'm thinking probably academia, but never ever else I've seen those. And even at the business, when we're saying, okay, let's look to the perspective, let's bring the roadmap, all the crazy ideas, they're being killed because there's no warranty that it would be efficient and it will bring money. Victor, what is your view on that? Because coming from academia.
Yes, so maybe I will disappoint you in part. So, of course, the academia is the place. It should be the place. But in particular, I would say there is something very positive and there is a danger. In particular in Sweden, if you don't know, in Sweden there is so-called teacher's exception. So what people at the university invent for salary is their intellectual properties, not the property of the university. And people are very encouraged to launch spin-offs and all this. But the danger is that it is sort of, I would say it should not be like this, but it is innovation versus a fundamental study, because people are starting from PhD students, they are very sort of fixed on innovation. They don't care about understanding. And this is exactly undermining what should be the role of the academia. Because academia is this strange term, disinterested research. Disinterested means that you want to understand. You don't want to prove that it is better than something else. You understand. It doesn't work, but you understand. And in the situation where you are sort of encouraged to innovate, it is not what you want to do. You want just to do better. And this is understood in the community. I prepared one citation I like very much. So it is from Stanley Whittingham, who got the Nobel Prize for lithium batteries, one of the three persons. So it is difficult to imagine something more innovative. Without lithium batteries, we would not be talking now, because we have lithium batteries in our computers everywhere. But what he wrote in 2020 emphasized the science rather than this will make the next greatest battery. We need a better understanding. Focused fundamental science is important. So he found it important to stress it because it is not evident. That's what I want to say here.
How much is academia able to concentrate on innovations or to do something like, and how much they need? I mean, the foundation knowledge doesn't need much innovation. The like what how I'm aware about the academia working is working on the grants where you have an idea, you're bringing the idea to the investors, and if the idea has a potential, you're granted the money, you're using those money to develop the idea. And here, one of the reasons we are creating this community is that the whole academia, when they are developing the ideas, you are spending the money, the majority on thinking. And the technology side is always lacking because all the technology side is done by like first grade students or some laborants who occasionally to their main level of study like biology, like economy, like medicine, they can program a little bit, and so they do the IT for those projects, which probably brings us quite some possibility to innovate in terms of the ideas. But the technology innovation would be lacking because, I mean, the first grade medical student normally doesn't know much about IT. And now the whole idea, like what some of the values of the communities we are creating was about connecting IT professionals and academia professionals and like science professionals, thinking that, okay, while some IT, especially in terms of the recession, are sitting and waiting where there would be people paying money for the IT services, and like a lot of IT companies have a lot of people at the bench, and we wanted to use it to invite them to work on academical tasks and to bring the excellence of IT to academia to basically enable academia to move faster. But my question is, would it work in terms, not in terms of like equipping the faster move, but does academia know where to move? Would it help the innovation? Because what IT can bring, the shared data, the usage of artificial intelligence, the mastering of all this, like the data exchange, probably monetizing of the data sets, a lot of backups, a lot of efficiency in calculations, and a lot of methods, a lot of the scientific papers and also the design of those papers. It can be done cheaper, faster, with higher quality, with the IT. But it's like it's wheels. Still, somebody steering where it's going.
I think I want to actually shift the topic a little bit into, and maybe this is something that we might actually talk about. For me, I think one very interesting thing when I was teaching is that in the 7 years that I taught, at a master's level, right, in business innovation, this is the class that I taught, I think maybe only 20% of the students were truly innovative. The rest of it, they just went through the motions of actually doing this. For me, I think mindset is very important, and how people actually get to the mindset. I don't know how. There are people who are innately innovative, and then there are people who get programmed to think that it's not my job to be innovative, it's that they're programmed not to be innovative anymore. Something through the programming as they grow up and learn through the education system, that they have learned to conform or follow, right? So 80% of my students follow exactly what I teach. They don't do any better. They don't do any worse. And I was thinking about this morning when I was going to work, because one of the things that I eventually want to write is this idea that um, the company that I used to work with is very interesting, right? Because they have very, very simple tools. But the point is that you want people to perform at their best. So we had 700 people, and all of the people are the best innovators in the world. Now, I've worked with so many clients. I don't think that I can say that any of my clients are very innovative. We have very smart people, and the companies invest in tools rather than focus on the people to actually get them to be innovative. They focus on the tools to actually then control the people so that they can follow, right? And to check off, like what you were saying, Sasha, in the beginning, right? Is this innovative? Does this actually pass the budget line? Is the projected margins going to gain us the profits that we need? These are the things that people are trained to do, rather than say, you should be thinking outside the box, and you should be bringing us products. You should be bringing us services that can actually help us excel, right? It's the other way around. You should be good at ticking boxes so that we know that this is the product to deliver, right? To me, I think the problem actually lies first with the people, to say, like, how can we free people up to actually be truly innovative?
Here, I have a question to Gleb, probably, because he creates the crazy projects and motivates the people to participate. Gleb, tell us, first of all, like, from where the crazy ideas are coming, and how, like, what do you see on a field of inventive? I mean, we all are here because of that, yeah. But how you're motivating people and organizations to participate, and how easy it is, or what are the main issues you see?
I mean, the thing is that what just Jerome mentioned, the thing is that in 2015, I connected HR with AI, and we were doing the thing with psychological model that I was using from my audio therapy thing. And the thing is that people were afraid to use the technology because it was something new, and it was something like, I mean, like, we're using the old style. There is the list of the things. Please give us the thing. Not like you press the button and you get in the result that we had out of our platform. But it was just like, okay, we prefer doing it the old way. That's the thing. So it's like they were blocking the innovation. But if we talking about the, like, where it comes from, it's like you just doing the thing and you thinking about it out of the box. So I don't know, like, the way that I'm doing and the way, like, my approach to think is more about you're taking the problem and you're looking at it from the, like, I don't know, you just like looking at it around, not like everyone looking like, oh, okay, we can use the technology for this. There is the problem, we can use AI for that. No, we cannot use AI for that. We can use the blockchain for that. So it's more like, it's something that you're looking at the problem, you're trying to find the real thing, which is exactly like for that thing, and not like we have the buzzwords and something, and out of, I don't know, like, I just like that crazy approach, because it's more about you allow other people that looking at you get inspiration for that. And like, I'm working with a lot of universities, and I'm like working with students, and my main thing is not about, like, not you just like telling them information and things and knowledge and something, but you need to motivate them, and you need to share the thing and share the passion, that out of that you will get other researches and other innovations that will change the life of the planet in a global way. But the thing is that you need to put everything that you have, everything that you know, and every crazy thing that you have, just to like at least one student should be motivated after like all your cars and after all your thing. And that's the way to do, like, give passive education, give innovation with the, I don't know, with well, I mean right now it's like remote education and something, but just like invite them to your laboratory and show them, just show. That's it. It's like, if it's really the thing, they will, like, next day they will come to you and like, wow, I want to at least replicate the thing, and can you tell me how that operator works? And you're like, wow, I was thinking about that operator 10 years ago, and they just digging it. So it's like doing the crazy thing. It's the best way to inspire people, to get the, like, just on board them and to move the world forward.
Well, thank you, Gleb. When you start speaking, I realized, Victor, I will pass the word to you. I just realized one thing. You said fear. And then I immediately recollect that, well, I'm also teaching a lot. And there's a huge difference between when I'm teaching kids or teens or when I'm teaching adults. Like, my main topic, I'm teaching blockchain. And normally by the end of the 2 hours education, when I'm teaching kids, they have crypto wallets, they have some fake crypto on their wallets, and they started to play in the Decentraland. They're asking me how to earn. When I do the same training, exactly the same training with the adults, by the end of those 2 hours, I have more than 20 questions about how safe it is, how are we going to be robbed, or how is scared, and only probably one person out of 20 would be not scared to install the crypto wallet. And that's the difference, because I can see that in every aspect I work. When I'm bringing something new, they're like the young generation, they're trying and see what happens. The adults, they're first they're scared, asking a lot of questions, and then moving nowhere. And
I
that's
guess,
what.
sorry, I guess it's like not adults, seniors.
Oh, okay.
We're all
Yeah,
seniors,
that's
sorry.
proper. That's proper. And that's probably the thing. It's probably with experience, we are getting scared because we know how painful or how harmful it can be. And the younger generation doesn't realize that. And to innovate properly, we should kind of learn how to put all these fears somewhere to shelf behind the doors and open that only when necessary. And again, going back to all the recent talks about optimistic and a pessimistic manifesto on techno, and also the word like, well, I'm blockchain, so I read the same words and something which Vitalik Buterin was speaking about, and this all about the fears and about the future and how much we are scared about being able to predict future or not. And Victor, I'm passing to you. You wanted to say something?
Yes, I wanted to say something maybe opposite about the questions. I agree that just asking the questions because you are afraid is one thing. But what I'm trying, and I agree with Gleb completely, that inspiring students is very important. And inspiring to ask questions. I mean, to ask questions to the things you think obvious. I mean, for example, asking questions, it's, I remember I read that Fermi, the physicist, he had as a question for his students, how many piano recording, piano tuning specialists there are in New York. It's a physical question because you need to calculate how many families, how many pianos per family, taking into account the climate in New York, how much time to detune the piano. So ask questions and make estimates. You not just know that this value is like this and I want to improve it by 5%. You should know where is the physical limit. Physical limit is 10% above, then if you improve by 5% is great. But if you are off by an order of magnitude, then 5% maybe it's not that great. So, and it's something that people don't usually do, because they just read the last paper, they saw what is done here, they want to do 5% better. And they don't think if where is the limit. It's not the sky is not the limit, but we can estimate where is the limit and how far are we.
About asking questions, I recently read a book by Richard Feynman, and he's like, well, autobiographic book is exactly about like asking questions the whole his life and pushing the limits. And basically, I mean, I'm just looking to how can we make it, how can we improve that, because yeah, we all are here and there giving lectures at universities, but it's a drop in the sea. I'm thinking of like the community initiatives and what can actually be done to provoke the proper approach to innovations.
I think the asking question bit is a very interesting one, right? As somebody who is Asian and then having lived almost my entire life in the US, I went from a person who didn't know how to ask questions to a person who would then ask too many questions, primarily because of all of my training in innovation. As you guys have very clearly identified, that asking questions is the first step towards being able to innovate. Because if you don't ask questions, you're just going to follow and you're just going to do the same thing. When it comes to Asia, it's very interesting because nobody asks questions here. Everybody is waiting for the instructions to come and then everybody will follow, right? Now, I'm not saying that in Asia people don't innovate, but I think what's really interesting is that maybe there's a different way of doing things here where I'm still figuring this out, where maybe asking questions is not the context, but then somehow people are able to innovate as well.
Okay, slightly switching the topic, how you yourself are finding the sources about where the innovations now, like, because in my professional environment, majority of the people, especially in corporate setup, they are thinking about the innovation, something which is already in newspapers, which is already kind of done, which is not innovation for me. And while startup people, they normally very narrow focused. They normally pick up one idea and they know about this idea and know something. But if somebody wants to be broader aware about the recent innovations or recent technology, like I wouldn't even say trends, but the age of the technology, how, like, what are your sources of information? How you are finding that? Trustworthy sources of information.
I will start by actually saying two things, right? The first one is I always tell people never to say no in a conversation, because the first thing when you say no is that it shuts off the conversation. And so what I always tell people is, if you don't like the idea, don't say no. Come up with another idea where then you can offer it as a gift to this person to say that, what if we did it this other way, right? It's a lot harder to do that, but it's more enabling, because then you don't cut off the conversation, you keep the conversation going, by actually then saying, I'm offering you this idea, let's start to build off of it. Right? That's a very small thing, but I think it's a very significant thing in the world where it's very easy to say no. The other one that I always like to tell people, especially my students, is that you need to be very, very tuned very broadly, right? You need to understand the world in order to then be able to take different ideas. I will admit to you first, right, in this kind of like global thing where this is going out into the world, my ideas actually are innovative because I'm taking an idea that exists in another industry to apply to an industry that has never heard of this idea before. And in order to do that, you have to then have a broad view of the world to understand what the world is doing. Read broadly, watch trashy news, watch all sorts of things in order to collect this information so that in the future, when you're like, oh, this industry is doing this too, maybe I can apply this here. I will offer these two, and then we'll see where other people go in order to then, build off of these ideas. Where do we get our innovative ideas from?
Maybe somewhat paradoxically, I would say that I'm personally on the conservative side of innovation, but I consider that I'm part of the soil on which innovations can grow. So my role is to be supportive in the sense of nurturing substances and suggesting the people to look at the things in a different way. In many textbooks I saw, I was not satisfied at all because they didn't answer my questions. So in my lectures, I am answering my questions, and in this sense, they are complementary. They are not replacing, of course, the good textbooks that exist. So I really consider myself as the soil that supports and nurtures.
In this case, like if you're soil, I'm just like that, like spirit drink that goes over and inspire that crazy thing that just like go over on the soil. Because what we had, I mean, like I'm working with students in a way like I'm not telling them what to do. I'm just showing them the way around. And the way around is something that they just like using to look over. And like, like Beavis and Butthead Do America, the movie like from 90s, it's about like going from the backside. So it's exactly the same thing about innovation. You're just like going from like, okay, here is the entrance and here is the building. You're just going from the other side and you innovate. So that's probably like the craziest explanation about how to do that in a simple way. But when you're doing that with students, like especially right now, like I mean, 20 years ago, it was more like you're doing something strange. You're doing something that not really inspiring, and we don't understand it. Right now, those who into technology, you're showing them that way, and they're like, wow, we never thought about that. And they just like jumping on it. And then you see like, okay, I wish I could do that. So that's about like you need to inspire them in a way that but then you need to learn from them. And that's like from my side, from my position, that's the best thing when you're working with new generation. You learn from that, not you just like I mean, like, what are you just like you're a lecturer. You're just like sharing some amount of information, but we're living in a modern world. Learn from everything, from everywhere. So that's probably the best way to drive innovation forward. And to, I don't know, like you have idea, you share with them, you brainstorm, you straight away getting so much feedback, it blows your mind. And you have fantastic way to change it, do it. And then it's like, okay, we have something that we can implement, and it's not that crazy, but we can do that in a week.
Well, my way to approach that is I'm connecting and translating, because very frequently, even when there are the ideas, they're shouted from one corner, but they are not understood in another corner. And like I'm connecting startups to enterprises, I'm connecting startups to investors, I'm connecting people from one enterprise to another enterprise, trying to make sure they understand each other. So very frequently on this connection point, I'm getting what those people are saying and translating that to the language to the people who are listening, and trying to make sure that they're able to understand. Sometimes I bring something from my side, trying to basically to motivate people to listen. But well, that's always tricky. Yeah, this is a part of the advisory when you do. Yeah, and you are trying to stay agnostic and just making everyone to connect and understand. Still believe that there is much more which can be done in the space. But yeah, if Victor is soil, the Gleb is water. With given that, I'm probably the bee who is flying from one flower to another and trying to merge them together.
I'd like to add here that seems like we all understand that such a interdisciplinary collaboration is very useful thing, and when we say about innovation, and everyone has have their own truths, and everyone is right here, and maybe let's touch the topic of this collaboration types of examples. I mean, when different types of innovation contexts intersect with each other, things like science, things like inventors like Gleb, people from corporates like Sasha and Jeremy. Maybe you have some good examples of how did these different worlds collaborate with each other in terms of doing something innovative.
Probably the best way. Sorry, you go. I go.
No. Gleb, you.
Okay. So the thing is, last time, I'm a creative technologist, so I'm doing the thing with technology, with innovation, and like cultural crazy thing, which in most ways looks so strange for the corporate people that they like, no, that's really crazy and we don't know what to do. Then like after the result is already like done, like wow, that was exactly what we needed. But it's about the thing that first you need to go there and inspire them. And that inspiration is not about like you managing, like I don't know, like managers trying to sell something. So it's not about that, but it's about like you giving them the knowledge, and that knowledge is like in the purest form that you can provide. So in a way that you're like I said, like I'm crazy innovator, so in a way like I'm doing crazy things, I'm coming over and I'm delivering pure crazy explanation of what we will do. That works. That's like it just works. So it's the thing that you just bring it over, and it like something that they never thought about that, but it's the thing that all of them, not me, just like I'm delivering the thing like in a way like I'm not showing how to do that, I'm showing like it's already here, just like take a look, it works. So it's the thing that like it really, I mean, like working with corporates, you have fantastic experience when you doing something that they do not expect, especially from you. Like you coming over, you have some crazy idea, usually they're ready to just like, okay, so there will be a manager and manager will bring explanation, and you coming over and you bring in something that blow their mind. So that way working with corporate is the best out of my last 15 years. So like we need to bring that innovation out of the box, out of space, and it will work, and we can, with that we can just like make the world better.
And I'm creating the space for people like Gleb and people like other people who can come on and that's kind of like the community. That's a platform where
Yep.
they have a scene, they have a podium when they can present, and others can see that, can challenge that. And also in our community space, there are like the people with ideas can come and to shoot their idea for the judgment of the public, and to have the like-minded people who can basically probe this idea from all the possible sides, and to help the founder, help the idea maker to realize it deeper and wider. And basically, I do believe like we are creating the communities, and we are looking for like investors and the people who are funding our community activities. We don't need much money because a lot of things are online, and we still believe that with the presence of the on offline things, that would be much more effective and much better. But again, this old money, and we are doing that with the handful of investors who are powering our communities. But that's the platform where the startups can come with the ideas, when the people like the founders can just before doing something can probe the idea, when the people with the crazy events can come and show, and at the same time when the people of academia can come and express their needs, or where the people from enterprises can come and discuss the topics, like to have the industry roundtables and discuss where the industry is moving. And it's all about, like, remember about the fear. Yeah. What I'm trying to do, I'm trying to create a safe space where there are no judgment, and there is a possibility to distill the ideas and distill the ways of developing the ideas further, and to find the partners, and to find this win-win situation, like basically to have the broader reach, because we are also recording everything, we are publishing everything, we have the social media, and we are trying to reach as wide as possible. And unfortunately, again, we are limited with money, so we cannot do offline events, but we are doing online events, and we are aiming to do accelerators, which means that the people with the ideas can get the reach from investors. We have a certain name by the investors, so that they're coming. So that's my way of approaching this. And still, with academia, it's lacking, because sometimes there's too much fear for people from academia to come publicly, to speak about the ideas publicly, to speak about the needs, because what people are either shy, either scared, either that's not they used to do. Because what startups, they're easily coming, they can see the value. The
No.
founders, the people with ideas, again, with academia, that's kind of, I mean, we are already screaming about a couple of months saying, guys, if you have a technology need, publish that in our community, publish it in the board. We will try to facilitate you, the professionals who can help with the idea, who can help with the ways. Not that many people are coming, despite the fact that everyone who hears about this says such a great thing, but nobody does.
Okay,
But I
and
think that younger people in academia younger people are much more open to the society, and they are not like old academics. I
They just
do think so.
modern.
Yeah, of course, of course,
They just modern. That's
of course.
that's their
Yes.
approach. They just like diving in and that's it.
Yeah.
But most of the time they're diving in and there is like no result. That like, I don't know, working with students, it makes me sad. And in this case, like you just like, okay, come on guys, we need to have a result, not talking, not blah 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 blah, but we need to innovate something. So I mean, I don't know. Like my way is like when you're working with students, is the thing like corporate students, the thing like you need to build this whole universe that they will understand. And being like, okay, I'm kind of old style, like not a boomer, but in some way I need to create this connector between like 80s, 90s, 10s, and so on, and find this resonance and to find this, like when you're talking about the thing that you want to, like you need to tell them by the course, is the thing that should resonate, because otherwise it will not, like, okay, you motivate them with crazy ideas, but if you're talking about the thing that by the program they need to learn, it's the thing that they need to understand on their level, on the moral level, not like just like level like this, but like, okay, according to the time. And it's changing, like every year is changing, like every day is changing. Most of, I don't know, I'm working with a lot of universities, and that's the thing. You come on, or like you bring in the idea, and they're like, no, it's too experimental. And you're like, what the, like you're talking about the thing that you need to, like your students should be the next best star of the world, and you have these teachers that it's too innovative. I mean, like, come on, we're talking about innovation. It's too innovative. What do you want? So I mean, changing the mindset globally is the first step for all of us.
Thank you, Gleb. And at this point, I'd like to.
Can I actually add a couple points?
Please.
So
Yeah, sure.
just to reinforce some of the things that Sasha and Gleb has talked about, I think collaboration is something that is well known. I don't know that you need to actually tell people that you need to collaborate. There's no doubt about that. People understand it. But there are a few things that both Gleb and Sasha talked about that I want to reinforce, right? One is having the space to do it, actually physical space or even virtual space, as what Sasha is saying. It's actually important. To do this innovation in like a standard meeting room is the wrong thing to do, because there are signals that actually tell you when you're in a meeting room, all you're doing there is to listen to somebody talking, right? So when you actually are in a space that is actually set up for innovation, where you can actually show things like what Sasha was saying, when you can demonstrate, where you can see what other people are doing, where you can be challenged, when you can be excited with new things that you've never seen before, that's when you get sparked, and that's when you get the inspiration to then innovate, to talk to people, to talk to technologists, to talk to experienced designers, and all of those things. Those things are really also very important. That's why, when we talk about innovation and we tell people you actually need the space to do it as well, sometimes people look at us as like, well, just do it in the meeting room. I'm like, no, people are just going to go into it like a meeting, right? So that's not where innovation actually happens. Now, the other thing that maybe Gleb was talking about is you actually do need to set ground rules for people when you get people in the room to collaborate, because my definition of innovation might be different than yours. But if we were to work together, we need to all have a common understanding of where are we going, right? Exactly like what you're saying, Gleb. Like the teacher might actually even say that's too innovative, but you didn't define what that innovation is. So it's your mistake, right? That you didn't tell the students we're innovating up to this point, or this is the latitude of innovation that we're talking about. Now, in fact, today I was actually helping. There is so much unspoken when you actually go into a room, when you meet with 6, 10 people and you say we're going to work together to create this innovative product, that you actually do need to set ground rules. And we are actually designing ground rules today to help people operate so that they can all work together, rather than, oh, my definition of innovation is this, and I don't care what your definition is, right? We're just going to all work separately. We might as well then just work separately. So in a way, collaboration to me is very interesting, because there are these things that you need to do in order to set people up right so that they can be more collaborative and more innovative than less.
I just like add 2 cents, because what you mentioned, like it's my mistake. It's not about the mistake, because my way is exactly what you said. Like first you're making the base, and then you're building on the base. So you're making the thing about innovation, how it works, what it should be, and so on. And then you're just coming over old style people, just like don't want. That's the thing. It's not about they don't understand, they don't want. It's too like, we're lazy, we don't want. We have our like I don't know, like, we have the course, we have the money, that's it. So that's the problem. And I'm like, okay, I will do it my way. I'm doing my accelerator, I'm doing my courses, I'm doing my thing, I'm creating crazy project, I'm inspiring people. So that's probably the best way that you can change the world, in a way of innovation in any area. And luckily, I'm just like covering a lot of them.
You're on mute, Alec.
Sorry. Thank you. And I have one question to Victor, since we touched the term academia a couple of times. So we all know that universities and even academia is one of the places where innovation is born. And how do you define yourself? Why not every research is an innovative thing? I mean, why do have some researches go to market, for example, or people find them innovative, and some researches are not?
Well, I think, of course, it depends on. I can talk only about my field, more or less, not about academia in general. Astrophysics should be functioning in a different way. But every research is sort of supposed to be a little innovative. But how much innovative it is, it's the other thing. And I think it is even not that critical, because I agree with Gleb that our role is in nurturing and inspiring the people. If our PhD students become doctors and they learn to think, maybe by doing the work, which is, of course, it's new. Everything you do is new. You don't just repeat. But if the people learn to think, if the people learn to notice the things they experience, because when you start your research, you never know where it goes. They need to see the turning point where they should turn. If we prepare the people like this, then maybe the research itself was not that innovative, but the person we are launching into the society and who will go probably to a company or somewhere else, probably this person will be innovative. Even if the research that served to obtain a master degree or PhD degree was not that innovative, maybe we prepared a good person, but it will be a good, useful person. I think maybe this is our role. So we should not be, we should not try to make all the revolution here. We are sort of launching it out.
But why not?
As I see it.
I think for me, one thing, and maybe this might be a little bit of a tangent, right? Innovation is not something that you can do from when you come into like Victor's course, for example. You have gone through life as a normal person, and then suddenly you sign up for Victor's course, and from the get-go you suddenly become innovative, and you are like at 100% innovative efficiency. That's not the way it works. You need to build up your ability to be able to think innovatively. So for a lot of my students, and in fact a lot of the things that I do too, let me start by actually talking about me myself personally, right? I remember like it took me about 5 years when I was working at my first company to really grasp the idea of knowing how to actually innovate, right? Where I can truly put something in front of the clients to say, truly, this is an innovative idea. But up to that point, I was following other people, looking at examples, seeing how other people do it. And then I got to that point where I'm ready to actually then do something really great. Now, from that point onwards, I start to build my capabilities. So when I was working, my first project was a very small project that was, if I thought about it, it was quite simple. It was not particularly innovative in any way, shape, or form. And that's the way that we also look at our projects. We class our projects based on what the clients want. from like simple innovation where we would put young designers who are just starting out on these things, because it would be simple for them to actually then get to an innovative point. And then for the ones that are really, like it's not clear what the client want, they want something, but they don't know how to describe it. It's far into the future. These are for very senior, very seasoned people like me who can go in, and it's a negotiation with the clients to then figure out where things go. So innovation is not just like everything is all the same all at the time, it's 100%. There are very different degrees. So I'm sure that when people write research papers, there are those that is really more about maybe substantiation, more about painting the picture to help people understand why it's innovative, or the innovation is less about true innovation but more about the incremental ones that Victor was talking about. And then there are papers that are truly like groundbreaking and far into the future or whatever that it would be.
Okay. And I see that 1 hour has flown by, and if we have some closing moments or comments or any questions to each other, we can bring them up.
I guess the simple one is let's change the world together. And out of what we're doing, we can do that. I mean, it's not the like it's not impossible thing. We can imagine that and we can do that.
Maybe I will say a word, though it's about innovation, but it's again from history. Max Planck, when he was considering his career, his physics professor told him that why should you go to physics? There is nothing to do there. It was at the end of 19th century. And Max Planck, it's interesting, everyone knows that. But Max Planck said, I don't care that there is nothing to discover there because I just want to understand. And it was sufficient for him. He wanted to understand. He didn't want to innovate. He was a very conservative person. But he had to innovate because he was faced to this situation. And I think it can also be a situation that maybe you didn't want to, but you should be open to this possibility.
You just mentioned the one word, open. That's the thing which just like when you're talking about the thing, it's about like being open to innovation, things, and so on and so on. Like being open in the mind, like have the open mindset. That's the thing. Let's do that.
Well, as a final word on my side, I probably will invite all people interested in being open, being creative, and being innovative to come to our community. And we are ready to facilitate a lot of things there. I mean, we're still inviting people from academia who need an IT services and who need an IT help. And we're still hoping to find you the IT professionals who will be able to help you. You can come with your projects with the exact tasks and with the definitions. We have a Telegram channel and we will connect you. We are looking for people working whose profession is innovation, who are working in IT and doing drones, AI, VI. We are inviting you for the panel discussions, for the round tables, for the researches together, for publishing your research results or posting your research questions. Probably somebody already did that research. And we are just inviting people for the chats and to find like-minded people. And we are inviting people with the ideas to come and present their ideas. And we are aiming to find you the spare partners to discuss your idea and to mature your idea. And we also have contacts to investor relations and investors if you are looking for the investors. And for the startups who wants to push their services, and if you believe that you are acting in an innovation space, we're inviting you to present your products and present your services. So guys, stay connected, join our Telegram channels, contact Alec, go to our We Are Community Thunderbolt website, and we are here to serve and to connect and to boost innovations.
That's exactly what we're doing all the time.
Okay, yeah. Then thank you so much, everyone, for making this panel session happen and for being our today's panelists as guests. And thank you, everyone who watched this live session, or maybe you are watching this on our YouTube channel. Just let me know if somebody has some initiatives that we can support. We are always open for such kind of things. You can find all the links in the description under the video you're watching. And I think that's it for now. We will be back with another panel session soon. I hope in a couple of weeks or maybe by the beginning of March. And you can always suggest your topic, a topic to discuss, or maybe we can go into something more niche. I mean, we are now talking about innovation overall, and maybe let's try to talk some specific things like AI, VR, or metaverse, or drones, or anything else. Just let us know your suggestions in the comments. I think that's it for now. Yeah, I hope you found this useful. Thank you once again. And this concludes our today's session. Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank you, guys.
you. Thank you.
Bye bye. That was a pleasure.
Goodbye.